Welcome to Angel Angela, and today's topic, as you guys can see, is going to be why does a narcissist treat everyone better than me? Hopefully, you guys can hear me. It is kind of windy out here, but I have a question from one of my subscribers. The question was, why does the narcissist treat people that they don't know better than their own partner or the people closest to them? For example, you can be in a situation, say you got a flat tire while you were driving or something like that, and they will get mad at you for something that you can't help. You can't help that you got a flat tire, but instead of them being helpful, they will get upset, get angry, maybe start cursing at you, start blaming the flat tire on you. If you're trying to call AAA, they're nagging you while you're on the phone. They're calling you names. Sometimes they'll even tell you that they're going to leave you in that situation and get a ride or leave you. But instead of reacting like a normal person would, they attack you for situations that you can't help. And while you're sitting there waiting for AAA to get there, they're complaining about how long it's taking them, and just putting a blame on you with every situation that comes through. So that's an example. And then next thing you know, they can be dealing with one of their friends, and their friends can call them and say, hey, I'm right around the corner. I got a flat tire. Do you have like a jack or something so I can take the tire out? And they will go out of their way to go help them. You might even come with them to help them, and they're acting like this great friend. And a part of you secretly feels kind of jealous, and you're kind of wondering why. But since you're in the situation where you actually came with them to help that friend, you kind of feel like you're being, you guys are both being good people together as a couple, because when you're with someone, you become one. So in those moments, you're not complaining about being empathetic because you feel for other people. But see, what you have to understand is that that person that you're seeing, that's not truly who they are. The reason no one sees what you see is because every relationship with different people, as far as friendships or past relationships, every relationship was different. But although every relationship was different, the narcissist isn't different. He's the same person. He's just an actor. She's just an actor. They're just pretending. So I know a lot of times when we hear of these cases, we're kind of like, oh, that's that Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, Mr. Hyde personality. And I say this because my family, one of my family members, their friend, got a bad divorce, and this person, this man that would come around during events that we had, was just very helpful, opens the doors, very gentlemanlike. If there's a situation that happens, he would be the kind of guy to break the situation up and be the bigger man, or be the bigger person. So you start thinking that this person is an actual, they can't be that bad, but that person is actually playing a role. They're actors. It's an illusion. And with this man, he ended up being very abusive, and when the divorce was going about, he was a chronic cheater and all these things. So they'll marry you fast and put you in those situations where you have children and things like that. But it's only to get supply out of you. They don't care about anyone, and they get abusive with their children as well. So the next thing you have to understand about why it is that they treat others better is mainly because they have flying monkeys. These people are flying monkeys. That means that they basically do everything the narcissist says, believes everything the narcissist says. They give them approval, praise, all of the things that they use you for. So if you go to work and they have issues at work and they come home and they're telling you they had a bad day, they expect for you to be on their side, even if they were at fault. But if you go through a situation, they don't really care, or they listen to you, or they say, I told you that was going to happen, or, you know, it's basically your fault. But they need that approval. And with that approval, there's two different types of flying monkeys. So first, you're going to have the family and the close friends. Half the time, the family and the close friends are narcissists themselves. So you might notice that some of their friends might be in relationships or married, but you might have moments where their girlfriends or their wives aren't around, and you realize that they're cheating and they're doing things that aren't representing the relationship in the best way. So when you see, you know how a lot of people say you are who your friends are, you have to pay attention to that. So these are the people closest to the narcissist, their family, their narcissistic mothers, or their narcissistic sisters who hate everyone, and they get in between everyone's relationships, or their brothers who are just like them, very egocentric, don't really care about everyone's feelings. The narcissist will sit there and talk bad about the people closest to them, their family, friends, and this is how they build a bond with you. So you're believing that, you know, these people, their family knows who the narcissist is, and yes, they know who the narcissist is, but they don't believe that the narcissist will do them the way that they would do you, which is definitely incorrect, because they're the kind of people that they will forge or steal living wills, living trusts. They will take everything from your parents and not distribute anything to your siblings, to their own brothers and sisters. They will have them be their flying monkeys, but if they have an opportunity where they can take off with everything that they have, they would take that opportunity. So their next types of flying monkeys are going to be strangers, co-workers, people that they meet on the street, people that they meet online and befriend. Most of the time with those type of relationships, they're not going to know anything about the narcissist's life. So they're never really going to get to meet their mom or their dad. And if they do meet their parents, most of the times their own parents will lie for them, because they're also, like I said, they're flying monkeys as well, but they're different types of flying monkeys. So the family members will actually go along with the narcissist's fake character. So that's what makes it even more believable. So you're looking outside in and you're wondering why they're nice to everyone except you. But the thing is that they're not nice to anyone. They're using everyone in some type of way. So sometimes when you're dealing with a low-grade narcissist, he will go and work, or say he works out a lot physically. If he's like into fitness, he will be hanging around really nice neighborhoods, trying to blend in and pretend to be local. They go into different cities, different states, and they act or pretend to be locals. And most of their friends and the people closest, not closest to them, but what it seems like to be close, they don't know that most of the time these narcissists have lied about half the things that happen in their life. They play victims with these people. They tell them that, they're very sad because their brother or sister, someone in their family died, or they make up a story. And even if the story is true, say their brother or sister died, they don't really care that they died. It's just they know that those type of things play with people's emotions, and you have to understand that they don't treat people better because they're emotionless. They want people to praise them. All they want is praise, approval of their fake self. So when I said my aunt was telling me about her friend's husband and how they got this divorce, and he was like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. If you guys want to go and look up like a documentary, I think they have like movies, but at the time I always heard the term, and I was just kind of like, I already know what, they're trying to tell me, that this person basically had a mask on and they were trying to be, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at the same time, two different personalities. So once I looked it up, I got into the story a little bit more. And basically, Dr. Jekyll was a scientist, and he ended up making a potion where he knew that as people, even as empathetic people, we can't also play victims because we also do bad things. We just don't do them to that extent. So what Dr. Jekyll wanted to do with this potion that he had was drink it, and when he drinks this potion, he wanted to become bad. So he wanted to separate good and bad, so there's no in between. Either you're going to be really good or really bad. So when he would turn into Mr. Hyde, he would do things like murder people and do like the most heinous crimes. And then he would take the potion again, and then he would turn back to Dr. Jekyll, and he would be, this good man. So he ends up doing a living will or a living trust or something before he dies, and he's basically leaving all his wealth to Mr. Hyde. And the man who was taking care of his paperwork wanted to know who Mr. Hyde was, but when he went to look for him, he ran away. So then what he did was get the writing and compare the writings to each other, Mr. Hyde's writing and Dr. Jekyll. So he took it to someone else who was an expert on writing and seeing different wordings to make sure to see if that's the actual same writer who's forging signatures and those type of things. So he ends up finding out that the writing came from the same person. So when he told, I guess, some people close to him to go, the people close to him actually went to go approach Dr. Jekyll to confront him about Mr. Hyde. And he ended up closing his window. He was upset. Every day as he woke up, he realized that he was turning into Mr. Hyde more. He would say that, he can blink his eyes, and in a blink of an eye, he would be Mr. Hyde. So what happened is that he tried to fake this persona, but yet at the end, he ended up turning completely into Mr. Hyde. And he was being so evil and wicked, he couldn't go back to being Dr. Jekyll anymore. And in the end, he actually ended up committing suicide. And, because all his lies started catching up to him. And I think that says a lot, because like I have on my other, on another video, on the topic of Jesus and Judas, how Judas destroyed himself in the end. In the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story, the same thing basically happens. So they destroy themselves in the end. So although it seems like they treat other people better, or you've seen how they've treated past supplies from, you probably never seen it. This is probably just stuff that he or she has told you, that other supplies have been better than you, or they didn't have the kind of issues that you and them had, and those type of things. But think about it. If that was the case, why are they their exes? If you're so bad and all these exes and other people they've been in relationships were better than you, why? It just does not make sense if they're with you and not them. And even if they return to a past ex, trust me, they have a lot of exes, and that's just someone who was vulnerable and hasn't seen the extent of things that you have seen. The more you know about them and who they truly are, the more they hate you. That's why they need their flying monkeys that are their family friends. That's why they need strangers and people that they just met, coworkers, to think they're this great person. And this is why they start hating you, and you start feeling like it's something wrong with you, but it's not you. It's just that they hate that you know, and you see right through them, the way that others, like their secondary flying monkeys, can't see. And while they're doing this, they're instilling jealousy in you. And you have to understand that narcissists, they don't feed off love and good energy. They feed off your sadness, anger. They feed off negative emotions. So you being jealous because they treat others better, and especially if you tell them, why do you do this, why do you do that, why do you treat them better, you're confirming to them what they're already seeking out to do to you. They're plotting on you and you're falling for it, and then they're making you feel all these type of emotions that they're sitting back and enjoying, and this is just soaking up their confidence. But at the end of the day, although although they'll have new supply, they'll always have new supply after that supply, because their mask always slips. Mr. Hyde, the real them, always comes out. A lot of times when you leave them and they're back after 2, 3 weeks, 2, 3 months, and they hoover you, that's because they're emotionless. Even if they're with someone else, they're sitting here still coming back to you, then going back gambling with them. They're emotionless. So when they leave you and come back, they leave you first of all because they found newer supply. They found someone who is giving them consistent sex, let's be honest, and they're giving them, might be money, they might live, they might financially be better, or most of the time it really doesn't matter about the looks and those type of things. It's about what that person provides for them. So if they can get sex as much as they get it with you, that's like the first thing off their checklist. Okay, I can come and sleep over here. That's like the second thing off their checklist. So it's all, there's steps to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to, they look better than you or any of those things, and that's why they're treating other people or new supply better. It's just the mask hasn't slipped. When you met them, they were paying attention to what you wanted. If you got cold, they offered you their jackets. But then later on in the relationship, if you were to wear their sweater or something, they would try to make you take it off and get really crazy over something that's materialistic like. So no, they don't treat anyone else better than you, and no, they don't respect or love anyone in any type of way, and they will never ever treat anyone with decency. They will always be liars, cheaters, deceivers. And I really hope that this video has helped you guys out. I do have to get going now, but don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, let me know what you guys think. and make sure you share this video, okay? So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.